I was scrolling through my Instagram feed when I came across a strange and unsettling story. It was a video of a person standing in the corner of a room, their face obscured by the darkness. The video was distorted and hard to see, but the figure in the corner could be made out in the flickering light. It looked like a teenage man, about 18 years old and tall. I couldn't really tell, but it looked like the person turned its head and looked right at me. It felt like the piercing eyes were staring directly into my soul. I suddenly felt hot and broke out in a heavy sweat. I felt extremely nauseous. I had to drop the phone and get a salad bowl from my kitchen. I threw up multiple times until all the food I had eaten was gone, and I was starting to dry heave. After that, you would think I would just have left Instagram and stopped watching the video, but for some reason, I was drawn back to my phone. I picked up the phone and started watching again. The figure of a man started to slowly leave the corner and walk into the open. He was not moving at normal speed, but in extreme slow motion. It looked like he was slowed down from special effects, but the video was raw and live. I heard white noise in the background with a constant bump sound, like when a record is done playing an album and it's just hitting the needle on the record. As I watched, the man slowly began to move towards the camera, his arms outstretched. I could feel my heart racing as I tried to look away, but I was frozen in place, unable to look away from the screen. He was moving so slow, but I was paralyzed and couldn't move anything on my body at all. Why did I pick my phone back up, I thought. I was going to die from a heart attack from watching the stupid video on Instagram. Suddenly, the figure lunged towards the camera, and I screamed at the top of my lungs. The video suddenly cut off, leaving me with a feeling of pure terror. I couldn't shake the image from my mind, and I couldn't stop thinking about who or what the shadowy figure could have been. I knew I had to find out, but I was too afraid to watch the rest of the story. But after how I felt, I shouldn't want to know what happened and just forget about it. However, I was compelled to find out more for some reason. I'm sure it'll be fine this time, right? Your sense of curiosity should not outweigh your sense of fight or flight. If something is dangerous, don't interact with it and put yourself at risk. They say curiosity killed the cat. There was loud thunder and streaks of lightning outside. It was predicted to be a major storm, and it was best not to go out in this mess. The rain was coming down pretty hard, and I enjoyed the rhythmic sounds of nature providing life to the world, washing away the dirty grime of the city. It was a great night to get under the covers and scroll through my Instagram feed. I had been scrolling through my Instagram for a while when I noticed that I saw something move from my peripheral vision. I suddenly got the feeling that someone was watching me. Seeing something move in the dark from my side began to be more frequent. Every time I looked up from my phone, I could see shadows moving. However, every time I looked up from my phone, I didn't see anything. I tried to ignore it, but it was getting harder and harder to do. I turned the lights on and looked around the room. I did not see anything on the sides or underneath my bed. I turned the lights back off and tried to get back into cuddle mode again. I was scrolling through my Instagram feed, trying to distract myself, when I saw a post from a user I didn't recognize. The image was a black and white photograph of a man standing in the woods. His face was obscured by the darkness, but I could see the outlines of his body and trees behind it. I felt a chill run down my spine as I looked closer. The man seemed to be staring at me directly, and there was something unsettling about the way he looked. The black and white post suddenly came to life and had motion. It was like the art picture motion that has become popular on different apps. The background was moving, and the hooded man began to walk forward towards me. I was intrigued, but also concerned. The man started to get really close to my screen, filling up the picture almost completely. I quickly closed the app and turned off my phone, trying to shake off the creepy feeling of dread that had settled over me. I knew after that I wouldn't be able to sleep that night. Suddenly, I heard a whooshing sound outside. I peeked through the blinds to see what was making that noise. There was a man with a hood, looking right at me. He was starting to slowly walk towards my house. playing on my phone when I stumbled upon a strange Instagram account. The profile picture was of a shadowy figure with glowing eyes, and the bio simply read, "Enter at your own risk." This seemed like one of those horror accounts that are everywhere these days. I do love these, and I'm always curious what stories or horror-related material is in their posts. I'm one of those 90s babies, and loved going to Blockbuster Video and sneaking to the horror section to see the scary art on the VHS tapes. I always wondered what was behind that incredible art that I saw, but never got to as I was underage and my parents definitely didn't want me to rent them. Now that I'm an adult, I get to do whatever I want. As I scrolled through the account stories, I got goosebumps and a strong feeling in my stomach. I typically like to get a little scared, but this was different. Each post seemed to be more chilling than the last, with images of ghost sightings that looked pretty real, and wave files of blood-curdling screams. I don't know why I kept clicking on stuff like that, but I was intrigued for some reason. After looking for a while, I pulled myself away from it and tried to do something else. I tried to forget about the account, but somehow it seemed to follow me no matter where I went. I tried to look at multiple other pages, so the creepy account didn't appear anymore. I hate the way when you look at something, the algorithm keeps showing you stuff like that over and over. It was showing mass suicides, people in torture chairs getting their limbs removed, and decapitations. It was truly horrifying stuff. I got off Instagram and switched to TikTok. There, I saw the same horrible stuff, over and over. Terrible car crashes, and war crimes, firing squads, people on fire. This was all real footage too. I got on YouTube, and it was the same thing. I felt like someone had hacked my phone and was making me watch the worst murder videos I had ever seen. I know people do horrible things to each other, but I did not want to see it. I felt like I was out of options and had to unplug from social media when I was looking at my phone and found out the cookies are stored on your phone and will carry over to other websites. With this new discovery, I erased all my cookies and all my watch history from my sites. Finally, I got some relief from that crazy stuff I was being forced to watch. Now I just stick to funny videos and don't like to explore that weird stuff anymore. From time to time, erase your cookies and watch history. The cookies track what you do and think you are into whatever you're looking at. Safe exploring for all my horror lovers out there. I suddenly felt hot and broke out in a heavy sweat. So after that you would but the video was raw and unedited. The video was raw and unedited. I heard posts